On social media and in the fashion corners of the world, there's a general consensus that if you stick with the classics, then you will always look in style and never have to follow trends. And this is true to a certain point. But there are micro trends like cuffed jeans and cutouts and floral patterns, which may last 2 or 3 years. And then there's macro trends, which generally are longer lasting, and they kind of change the look of fashion and how we wear our clothes. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 items that are definitely considered classics, but they have been through an update. We're not wearing them the same way anymore, and some of them can be restyled and some of them just kind of look a little bit dated if we're being honest. Now, as always, please wear what you love. And this video is specifically for women who are just trying to update their wardrobe. You have some work clothes, you're not really sure what's in style anymore, you haven't looked at fashion in a long time, and these are pieces that a lot of women still have in their closet. Let's start off with one that I just think needs to be restyled. And this is actually a really big trend for right now and going into 2026, and it's the pencil skirt. The pencil skirt is definitely a classic item, and it's one that most everyone has in their closet, especially if you work in a corporate environment. You probably have a pencil skirt. It's probably black. The way that we were wearing them for the longest time, and the way that I currently see a lot of women wearing them, is this tight pencil skirt, and then there's like a tight button down top or tight, some kind of fitted top, and then a really high stiletto heel. And I love that there's women that can still walk in those 4-inch stiletto heels, like bravo. But that's not really the on-trend way to wear these skirts. Now, am I saying you need to follow every single trend? No, but I gotta be honest, I think you're gonna like the more current way to wear these pencil skirts. First of all, the pencil skirts that are coming out are actually a little bit longer. They're a little bit more of a midi length. And there's also not just black, there's a whole bunch of different colors and prints and textures. But if you have that same black pencil skirt in your closet, instead of pairing it with something really fitted up top and super high heels, the more current way to wear these pencil skirts is gonna be with like a lower kitten heel, a knee-high boot, and then a relaxed fit top. That could be like a relaxed sweater, it could be a relaxed button down, but we've moved very far away from tight, tight, tight everywhere. Now, if you decided to keep the 4-inch heel, maybe that just looks better with your frame and just looks better on you, and I can totally understand that. If you just simply swap out the top to be more relaxed fit, that would look a lot more current than the super high heel, super tight pencil skirt, super tight top. It's not necessarily that the 4-inch heels are out of style, it's the things that we were pairing them with for the longest time. Like we used to pair them with shorts. Like that's just not a very in-style look anymore. But I do still think it looks great with the looser fit tops. And you definitely don't want to wear these pencil skirts with an ankle boot. That is a look we wore a long time ago. It's still not back. I don't know if it ever will be because it does kind of chop you up kind of in weird areas. So that is definitely not on trend either. Now, I'm in my mid-40s. I've lived through a couple trend cycles, which is really fun. But one thing that is very important to me right now, being in my 40s, is my health and how I'm aging and how I'm going to feel as I get older. If you're like me and like to take full control of your own health, then you are going to love our sponsor for this video, which is Function Health. Now, Function Health is the only health platform that gives you access to data most people never even see that can help you prevent and manage potential health conditions. Now, they test for over 100 biomarkers. And let me just tell you, all the things that you hear on social media that women in their 40s should watch out for, like your magnesium and your cortisol levels and your vitamin D. Now, I listen to these things too, and I get concerned about those. Well, you know what? I had these tests done and all of those things were fine. I'm good to go in all these categories that they say that most women in their 40s should worry about. And it were these things that nobody's talking about and they're not testing for that ended up being out of range for me. And it's all starting to make sense why I was having certain issues. I know that there's a lot of advice out there that's very general and it's very good advice, but to be able to know what specifically is happening in your body and can perhaps shed light on why you're experiencing certain problems is just mind-blowing. Now, Function Health, they test everything from your heart health markers, like your cholesterol particles, to hormones like your estrogen and progesterone and thyroid, to stress and inflammation markers, and even toxin and nutrient levels. All these things that change that we do kind of need to be concerned about in our 40s and 50s and 60s. Now, if you were trying to get all these tests on your own, it would be thousands of dollars. And you would have to find someone to dissect all these results for you. So whenever you get your results back, they are analyzed by a clinician and they give you insights on certain foods that you need to eat more of, certain foods that you probably need to avoid in order to get some of your markers back into a healthy range. Now, the cool thing is after 6 months, you do another blood test, you do a follow-up to see if the changes that you have made have been working. If you want to take the reins on your health, Function Health is offering $100 off to the first 1,000 people to use my link. I will leave my link in the description box. You could also scan the QR code on the screen. I hope you will give them a shot. Thank you, Function Health, for being my partner for this video, and let's continue. This is more of a spring item, but before you know it, we'll be into spring. But this is an item that I really think has been on a lot of lists of being a classic item, and it just kind of looks dated right now. And it's the super basic white sneaker, like a Keds white sneakers. That has just been labeled a very classic white sneaker for the longest time. But right now here in 2025, it looks quite a bit dated. And the reason for that is because the sneaker trend, this sneaker culture is so big right now. It's been big for a few years. It's continuing. It's something that I think we'll look back at the 2020s and be like, that was the decade of like sneakers with everything. And it's all about these sneakers with personality. Like instead of it being a shoe that just kind of fades to the background and the focus is on the top or something, sometimes the sneaker is the outfit. It is a big part of the outfit. So even the basic, more neutral sneakers, like say the Adidas Samba, it's not all white. It still has some personality to it. Now, if you have a basic white sneaker, like a Keds, something like that, I would definitely not throw them away or anything like that. Obviously, I'm sure these will come back around because at some point, I don't know when that'll be, at some point, years down the road, the sneaker with everything, it'll probably swing back some other direction. And then we'll probably not be focusing that much on sneakers. Who knows what will happen with fashion and the world and everything. I can't really predict the future. But I would say that if you are trying to look for a basic, go with everything type sneaker, I wouldn't necessarily go with those canvas, basic white Keds type sneakers. I would get even an ivory, like an off-white, get something that has a little more texture to it. Get one that just has a little bit more personality. It doesn't have to have colors on it. It doesn't have to even have stripes or anything on it. And it could be a solid off-white, but the more in-style shoe in the classic white sneaker category is going to just have a little bit more personality than those basic, very basic canvas white sneakers like Keds. Black pants have been a staple in every woman's wardrobe since we started working jobs. And they are a classic. Anybody who works in some kind of corporate environment, they probably have a black pair of pants, or I shouldn't even say black pants, they have the trouser pant or some kind of trouser-esque pant. But what we moved away from are these skin-tight dress pants. And I still see them. I'll be sitting in my coffee shops and I love looking at people, I love people watching, and I see all these women will come in, they're obviously going to like a meeting or going somewhere like corporate, something like that. And I see the skin-tight dress pants, usually paired with a skin-tight top. A, it looks uncomfortable, but also it is just not a current look anymore. Now, even the pictures I'm showing you, I was having a hard time finding ones from like 10 years ago with the super tight pants. I basically just see it out in real life. But these aren't really that bad, but they're kind of representing that vibe. But if there's a pant that you're wearing and it is really tight, it's probably uncomfortable, trust me, you do not need to wear that. And it's way more current to wear these dress pants that are more relaxed fit, that are not hanging off of you or baggy, but they fit you, but they're not skin tight everywhere. Now, what is coming back, and if I had to guess, I would say maybe it's gonna start in the spring, maybe 2027, but I feel like that pencil, the tapered trouser is going to make a comeback at some point. But even when it does, it's going to be something that's still got room to breathe. Like it's not gonna be this skin tight look. Now, I think this is a good thing. I don't really know anyone who would prefer to wear the skin tight pants versus something that just fits, but it's more relaxed. So what do I know? There are lots of options out there right now. You don't have to spend a ton of money in order to get some dress pants that fit you, but they're not super duper tight. And this is not going anywhere for a very long time. Another classic, it's a classic, but this version of it, I just feel like it looks very dated and it's not a thing anymore. But blazers, we all know blazers, it's a very classic item. Blazers are extremely classic. And although blazers, sometimes they come in a trending style, like the super oversized was a thing for a while, and blazers can come in different fabrics and everything. But the blazers I'm talking about that look kind of dated, it's these flimsy blazers that a lot of them had 3/4 length sleeves, but that were really, really big in the 2010s. And so there was a lot of them that were just these really thin fabrics. And I think this is when we all started getting back into the blazer look. But the blazers were very inexpensive. They're inexpensively made, and we were just eating them up and wearing with skinny jeans and heels, and that was a whole look. but those blazers, they just kind of give a dated appearance. A well-made blazer can be kind of expensive, and so perhaps this was the answer to a more affordable blazer, but I just think now we have Quince, we have all these places that do a really good job of making these kinds of items for affordable prices. So I think this is one you could definitely update. I remember having a blazer like this and kind of being embarrassed if somehow it would like kind of pop open or something because it was unlined. You could see all the stitching and stuff inside, just like not very well made blazers. And blazers are a really good item to look for secondhand. Even look in the men's department. The whole relaxed fit is very in right now. But I do think this is an important category because I think a really nice blazer that fits you really well, that you really love, can just really elevate a very basic outfit, and it can just work so hard in your wardrobe. So I do think this is one that is worth updating as the times have changed. This next one is a dress, and man, this dress reigned over the fashion world for so long, and I actually just think whenever it comes back, it just kind of needs an update, but it's the faux wrap dress. Now, somewhere back in, I think it was 2007 or something like that, the Diane von Furstenberg wrap dresses came back. They were, you know, obviously big in the 70s, I believe, and then they had a resurgence and everybody loved these DVF dresses. And even those DVF dresses, if you have one, I think those are beautiful and timeless. But then what happened is mainstream fashion got a hold of it and started making faux wrap dresses, and those were great for a while, but then fast fashion gets a hold of something and the style of it somehow starts to get degraded along the way. And so now a lot of these wrap dresses that have the faux wrap, they have like a little tie, usually a flutter sleeve, they can look a little bit dated. Even the ones in solid colors, they can just look a little bit dated. Now in this category, what is not dated and what feels more current are, it could still be a faux wrap, but it's not going to have that little tie and, you know, be kind of the ones I'm showing you. Perhaps it's more cinched and it's got just a little knot at the side, but it's probably gonna be a true classic wrap dress, or it's a belted dress with an actual belt. Or it does have a faux wrap, but it doesn't have the little tie. It's some kind of more interesting, unique wrap, and it doesn't have the flutter sleeve and the ruching and everything. It's just a lot less bells and whistles and more simple and sleek. This next one should come as no surprise based on all the other ones, and I think we've done a good job of moving away from this, but I still see people wearing this out and about, and it's usually with the really tight dress pants or like with a really tight pencil skirt. And so I know that it's just something women still have in their closet. I know it's not comfortable because I've worn them. We're like, what is it? It's the really tight button downs, the ones that have darts right here, and they're just very fitted everywhere. Like, it's really hard to do this. You definitely can't hardly wave. You just have to be like this, because if you did this, it would like rip those button downs. And I still see them out and about, and I know it's not comfortable. I know it can't be comfortable. And so I want to tell you guys, if you're uncomfortable wearing those, the more on trend button down is a relaxed fit, slightly oversized, the boyfriend cut, but just not skin tight. Now we're even getting more into cinched things, especially into 2026, we're gonna see a lot more cinched things, but even those, and I even have a button down that's darted and cinched right here, but it's still a relaxed fit. Like in the shoulders and everywhere else, is still a very relaxed fit, and then it just has this cool little curve to it. So that is a look and a specific style, but it's not completely fitted and tight all over. Now, could you make this look great by pairing it with something different on the bottom? I think you could. Now, if you are somebody who's like, I love my really tight fitted button downs, I think if you paired that with a wide leg pant, like a high-waisted wide leg trouser, I think that would look great. I think you could restyle that to make it work for you and just look really current. But when you combine all these things together and you have the too tight dress pants with the really tight fitted button down, and you got some kids or something, it can all look a little bit dated. So with a lot of these, they can be restyled. Some of them, like the blazer, it may just need to be updated. And that's one of these things that these are more classic items, and even though they do change over time, it's one that if you found a really good blazer and bought it today, you're gonna keep it for years, like for years and years and years. And even when it somehow, if we go back to the flimsy blazers, which I kind of doubt we ever will, you can still keep these things and you can keep them in your rotation. So I just think these are pieces that, yes, they are classics, but still fashion does change. And I know people get like upset or something whenever things are changing and there's trends and not trends and whatever, but I would be so bored if nothing ever changed. If we had the same clothes year after year, we all styled them exactly the same way and everybody dressed the same, and it would just be so boring. So my philosophy is most of your clothes, basics, elevated basics, classic pieces, ones that really stand the test of time and really do last for several years, and then some trends and special pieces sprinkled in. That's the way I like it. You do you, obviously. But anyway, I hope this was a helpful video, but you definitely feel free to leave some comments below, or any items that you think are considered classics, but you just think kind of look a little bit dated now in 2025, you can comment below. Anyway, let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Function Health if your health is a priority to you right now. I will leave their information below and everything you need to get started, and I will see you next time.